Hello, River family. It's awesome to be back with you again today. Myself and Pastor Jane.
Woohoo!
On Tuesday, we talked about legacy in the present, about
Yeah.
what it means to invest in, focus on, and make choices that are intentional in being something bigger than yourself.
That's right.
And so today, we want to look at this, just kind of look at the story of Joseph as a representation of what that can look like, because I think it's a great Bible story that we all know
Yes.
that represents this well. So Joseph, as a young man, has a dream. His family's going to bow down to him. He's going to be in charge.
I
Awesome.
always thought it was interesting that God gave him that dream in his immature state, right?
And I think that that's true of most of us.
I think it is. I think the Lord shows us something that is so much bigger than ourselves, and then we spend quite a long time walking through the process of being able to wear that vision,
Yes.
right?
And I mean, it happens with David as well.
Yes.
He gets anointed as a young man.
That's right.
Doesn't become, like, this is a common theme. And so you've probably had dreams
Yes. Yes.
of your greatness.
Yes, exactly,
And a
which
lot of-
isn't arrogance,
It
right?
isn't.
It's so good.
We're supposed to be great.
Yes.
Our greatness doesn't take from God.
That's
It
right.
actually pulls,
Reflects
pulls honor to him.
Yes.
His glory is shown through us.
It's so good.
So the things that you thought you'd be great when you're young
Yeah.
are probably in line with what God has for your life.
Yes.
And a lot of times we're just told, stuff that down, that's ridiculous, you're being
Yeah.
prideful.
Who do you think you are?
Right.
Don't think of yourself better than you ought.
And that happened to Joseph.
Yes.
Now, to be fair, because of his immaturity,
Yes.
he didn't take the vision and handle it well.
He
Instead
blew
of investing in relationship with God and saying,
Yes.
how do I pursue this? He said, hey, by the way, everyone, I'm going to be in charge. Just so you should know. Right?
Yeah.
Very much like a brother would do.
Yes, especially a little brother.
And so
Yeah.
I think that, of course, God had the plan the whole time and everything worked out perfectly, but there probably was a way for him to get to the vision that didn't include him being sold into slavery.
Right. Right.
But even though he was sold into slavery,
Wow.
it didn't discount what God had him alive for, right?
Right.
And he still had opportunity to partner with it later on.
Well, free will has a lot to play, which is beautiful. The plan that God had for him never changed, even though the choices that he made gave him detours, right?
Really fun detours.
And then
right?
some things happened that he had no control over.
that weren't his choice.
And then in those times, because of what had happened, he learned how to stay focused on God.
And so, what does this mean for me? Like,
Yeah.
if you have a vision and it feels like I'm nowhere near it, what can you do in the meantime? Because he ends up in Potiphar's house.
Yes.
He's not ruling the world. His family's nowhere near him. They're not bowing down to him, right? But he's given whatever. You're in charge of the courtyard.
Yes.
And he decides to make it the cleanest, most efficient run courtyard ever, because that's what he has access to.
It's such a big deal.
And it says everything he put his hand to prospered.
Yes.
Not just he did good enough.
No.
Not just he clocked in
Just
and clocked
get
out.
by. Yeah.
Right? He invested because what he had in him was greatness, was administration, was doing things really well.
Yeah.
And so he did that, and it changed things, and it unlocked things, and
Yes.
it brought him into favor.
That's right.
Now that also built jealousy and issues,
That's
right? And then he ends up thrown in jail. And at that point, like I mean, we've been there.
Right.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if I haven't been thrown in jail. Some of us have though.
That's right.
But figuratively, right? Like to have been like, I thought I was doing everything right.
Exactly.
Doing it right, God.
Yes. Yes.
Why am I not there yet?
Yes.
And actually, I fell down. Like,
Yeah.
my
I'm in the
business
worst
crumbled.
place. Exactly.
My family's in shambles. My marriage fell apart. Like I thought I did everything right. And it's like in that moment, again, he has another opportunity. He could have just rotted away in a cell.
That's
I think
right.
God could have raised up someone else to run the country.
Exactly, exactly. He could have just been bitter. He could have
Yep.
decided that God lied. He could have thought he was just he could have given up. And I think it's fascinating because he didn't have the Holy Spirit. Jesus hadn't come yet, and he still made a choice.
And he might have been very depressed and given up for a while.
Right.
But then there was an opportunity. People started talking about dreams.
Yes,
And dreams was where this all started, and
That's right.
it hasn't worked out well for him.
that's right.
So he could have been bitter.
Yes,
Dang dreams, ruined
That's
everything
right,
for me,
yeah.
right? But instead he says, you know what? Actually, God has shown me like He's given me
Yes.
dreams, and I actually know what they mean.
yes. It's incredible.
And that stepping out and trusting that God actually
Pulled
did
on
set
his
something
calling,
up.
right?
He
He pulled
said,
on his destiny.
here it is. And he said,
Yeah.
by the way, don't forget me.
Yeah,
Which again is interesting because they do forget him.
They do,
For a long,
for a long time.
The one, right? One dies,
Yeah.
one gets out. For a long time he's serving the Pharaoh, doesn't even, and then he's like, oh wait, dream. That
yes.
guy.
Yes, and it comes back to him. And still, again, he's put in a situation where he's in charge, and then Potiphar's wife takes advantage of him.
That was before he got
Oh,
married.
that was before.
So then
So-
when it goes in terms of the dream of Pharaoh,
Yes.
now he's put in charge of everything.
And he had the maturity to handle it.
But his family still wasn't there
That's
for a
right.
couple years,
Yes.
right? Because you had all the years of plenty, and then some
Yes.
years of famine, and it wasn't until through the famine that countries around realized Egypt's the only one who did this right,
Wow.
and his family now comes to him. And it's a really interesting, weird story,
Yes.
but
It's awesome.
not only does his family bow to him, but he actually ends up getting to save his whole family.
Yeah.
And the nation of Israel comes and lives under the protection of Egypt, all because of Joseph.
And he chose to live for the future in the present.
And that's our opportunity is what God has in you could be more for other people than it is for you.
That's right.
And it probably is, because that's
Right.
how God is. He loves people. He loves you, and it will be the best for you as well.
That's right.
Don't ever lose sight of that, even if things seem like they're not working out.
Yes.
Like you might have to be positioned in a jail in order to get access to the king. And so when your greatness doesn't seem to be happening, that doesn't mean stop investing in it, stop believing
right.
that it's possible. It's actually like, okay, what do I do here?
Yes.
And if all I can do is sit, well, then I'm going to pray. And I'm going to pray for other people's
That's right.
visions and callings to be completed.
Yes.
Right? And other times, though, it's very intense, and there's a lot you can do.
That's right.
Because there's every single relationship you have opportunity to invest in something bigger than yourself.
Yes, and in that is always the privilege of sowing into someone else's vision and knowing that God is so faithful that in the process He's going to take care of your vision
Right?
during that time. So it's never wasted. It is never a waste of time to sow into someone else's vision. It's never a waste of time to prepare and make intentional steps.
Yep.
Every gift, every seed that you sow is fermenting. It's doing what it needs to do.
And it's important to know, like, when when Joseph worked for Potiphar, he wasn't getting rich.
That's
Potiphar
right.
was.
That's right.
He was getting someone else
That's right.
the good stuff, so to speak.
That's right.
But then he got so much more because of that.
That's right.
And so that's what
Praise
you
God.
always have opportunity to sow into something bigger than yourself, the legacy. And there's always legacy and vision around you to
Yes.
partner with when it feels like yours is going nowhere.
That's so good.
And sometimes that's what you need to unlock the next step for you.
So good. Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.